Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories and information found here can be found at our website, www.indiancountrynews.com, where your online membership or donation helps support the development of this television station. Here are some of the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Mashpee Wampanoag tribe is on the verge of getting new leadership. Tribal members tell the Cape Cod Times that Chairman Sean Hendricks did not submit papers for re-election by the deadline on January 12th. Vice Chairman David Pocknet is not seeking re-election either, meaning the tribe will vote for new leadership team at the February 8th election. Hendricks is a protege of the former chairman, Glenn Marshall, who is now facing federal corruption and fraud charges. Hendricks has been placed on administrative leave by the Tribal Council, which is investigating whether he and Secretary Desiree Hendricks Morano had knowledge of Marshall's alleged crimes. Tribal leadership is paramount at the Mashpee Wampanoag's attempt to build a resort casino in Middleborough, Massachusetts. The National Black Programming Consortium and its National Minority Consortia partners are inviting Native and other journalists to participate in the 4th Annual New Media Institute. The NMI is a unique professional development program working to transform producers of color from television producers into media makers who can work seamlessly between various digital platforms. Building upon last year's theme of social networking and active citizenship, NMI09 will explore mobile journalism. The live conference session will be held in conjunction with the Integrated Media Association Conference in Atlanta, Georgia from February 17th through the 19th. The producers selected to participate in this year's institute will take part in the development, production, and launch of an original website where mobile journalists can meet, share, and mix. The organization is offering fellowships to representatives of communities of color. Your application must be in by January 23rd. For more information, you can visit the Native American Journalists Association website at www.naja.com. The Flandreau Santee Sioux of Flandreau, South Dakota, has ended its publication of its weekly newspaper, the Dakota Lakota Journal. According to a front-page story, the current issue will be its last. The tribe said poor economic conditions have cut readership in advertising, while the internet and new technology have changed how people receive their information. Several other major newspapers in the United States, including the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, the Rocky Mountain News, are both for sale now and face closure. The Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times have also experienced difficulties in maintaining their financial solvency in recent months, and several other tribal publications have ceased publishing the last few months as budget constraints have forced cutbacks to programming on many reservations. Several publications funded by tribal governments and subsidized by casino revenue have managed to avoid the same problems of declining advertising and subscription revenue as people turn to the internet for their news. On January 20th, the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian will welcome Native American leaders from across the United States to join the museum's inaugural festivities. Leaders will gather on the museum's upper floors for a bird's-eye view of the U.S. Capitol steps, a mere 400 yards away, where the 44th President of the United States will be sworn in. As plans for this inauguration began, Kevin Gover, the director of the NMAI, realized that hundreds of tribal delegations and Native leaders were interested in coming to the museum for the festivities and the view of this ceremony. On Inauguration Day, when a projected 2 million people may fill the National Mall, the views from the street level will be limited to giant screens broadcasting the activities. The museum received a $60,000 donation from the Seminole Tribe of Florida for a 3-day pre-inauguration festival starting on Saturday, January 17th. Helen Cedar Tree, the oldest member of the Northern Arapaho tribe and a longtime supporter of the community and cultural preservation efforts, has passed away. She was 96 years old. Cedar Tree passed away January 10th of natural causes at a Fort Washakie nursing home. The tribal members said Cedar Tree was widely known on the Wind River Reservation by her nickname, Grandma Helen. Cedar Tree was born April 4th, 1912, and lived on the Central Wyoming Reservation her entire life. Her first language was Arapaho, and she was involved in teaching language and culture to younger generations, her grandson John Lee Crispin said. Only about 200 members out of the Northern Arapaho's total population of about 9,000 members now know and use the Arapaho language, a tribal spokesman said. Cedar Tree was also an original member of the Northern Arapaho Cultural Commission, an original member of the Chief Yellow Calf Memorial Club, which was formed in the late 1930s, and formerly served as a tribal election judge. Cedar Tree is survived by 3 daughters, a son and multiple grandchildren, nieces and nephews. A funeral service is set for the morning of January 15th at the Blue Sky Hall, followed by burial in the Yellow Calf Cemetery. Navajo Nation President Joe Shirley Jr. has sent the Obama-Biden transition team a request for $2.9 billion in funding for the Navajo Nation's priority needs through the president-elect's proposed $775 billion stimulus program. In a January 5th letter to the transition team, President Shirley described the Navajo Nation as equal in size to the combined areas of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Vermont, but with significant economic and social needs. Shirley said, "More than half of our families heat their homes with wood they cut themselves, drink water hauled in barrels from windmills, and light rooms with kerosene and gas lanterns. Their wealth is not measured by what's in a savings or retirement account, but by what's in their sheep corral or held in a border town pawn shop." The 50-page Navajo Nation federal agenda for the Obama-Biden transition team and the 111th Congress is the result of a 3-day workshop among Navajo Nation division directors held in Washington, D.C. last month with input from the Navajo Nation Council's Intergovernmental Relations Committee. Montana Governor Brian Schweitzer and the state's congressional delegation plan to ride on horseback during the inaugural parade for President-elect Barack Obama. As someone who is raised on the back of a horse, it'll be an honor to saddle up to represent our great state of Montana in the parade, said Representative Denny Ryberg of Montana. The horses for Schweitzer, Senators Max Baucus and John Tester and Ryberg will be provided by the Oakland Heights Farm in Virginia. Montana's representation in the parade will also include 20 members of the Crow tribe on horses trucked to Washington, D.C. from the Crow Reservation. Sarah Kuban, a spokesman for Baucus, says another 20 Crow tribal members will be on a float in the January 20th parade. A prominent American Indian painter whose work hangs in museums in New York and San Francisco is among those being honored by the New Mexico Historic Preservation Division with official scenic historical markers. Pablita Velarde was just 19 when she was commissioned to create scenes of traditional Pueblo culture for the museum at Bandelier National Monument as part of a New Deal program. She went on to become the most prominent female Indian easel painter in the nation. Velarde, who passed away in the year 2006, produced more than 80 works from 1939 to 1945. She painted traditional dances, scenes of family life, and daily activities such as picking berries, hunting rabbits, and herding horses. A couple of the powwows coming up on the Powwow Trail is up next weekend that we'd like to get a hold of. The Chief Leshai Traditional Powwow is scheduled for January 17th at the Chief Leshai School in Puyallup, Washington. The second annual Central Texas Intertribal at January 17th at Liberty Hill Junior High in Liberty Hill, Texas. And the 13th annual Native Youth Alliance held at the Hyatt Regency in Crystal City, Virginia. That's today's edition of the Native News Update here in a roundup of news from Indian Country. We want to thank our sponsors and underwriters for helping us with this broadcast, and our digital partners, powwows.com, nativeview.com of Helena, Montana, and our newest partner, Nish TV, broadcasting from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Join us again soon. Thank you.